So basically today, I'm just going to talk to you about how I've sort of came up with that company and sort of what I do on a daily basis to be able to do that. So the title, which I like for you guys especially, is This Is Your World. Shape it or someone else will. I have no idea who wrote it. I found it on Google, but it's one of my favorite quotes. 10 things that I know about me that I'm going to tell you. Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself, which again is what I'm about to talk to you about. So here's my top 10. I am 26 years old, and like she said, my birthday is today. So where is my cake, Peter Crawley? I own a fashion label. As you know, it's TEDxStHilda'sSchool. It's about a year old. It's been in my head for about maybe 2 or 3 years, but it takes a while to actually, before you start thinking about something, to actually start doing it. There's a big gap between those two things. I think imagination is much more important than knowledge. Well, not much more, but they pretty much go hand in hand, so I don't want any teachers here about to hurt me. But with imagination, for me, comes belief. And for me, belief and believing in yourself that you can actually do things such as start your own company, especially being a young woman, is a pretty big goal for me. I am obsessed with making lists, as you can tell. It's pretty much how I get everything done. If I don't write things down, it pretty much won't get done. My head moves so quickly that I need to have everything down in print, so my pockets are constantly full of post-it notes and scrap pieces of paper. When I finished school, I moved to London. I didn't study. I moved straight away for a year. I didn't really have any plans. I basically just partied for a year, I'm not gonna lie. But it was fun, and traveling is one thing I would definitely support for you guys when you leave school. It makes you grow up so fast, and you learn a lot about yourself, definitely. Growing up, I wanted to be the host of the Today Show on Channel 9. Clearly did not happen. I did not even get close. I didn't even go down that path. I have a friend of mine though now that is about to be a sports presenter on Fox, which is, I think, very cool. And she's been working her ass off for that for the past 2 years. I'm the world's biggest daydreamer, and chances are I will trail off for the next 18 minutes, and I probably already have. I love photo shoots, which is one of my main things. All the photos in this talk, and obviously in that video, are all from our company. Either I've taken them, my brothers have taken them, or my friends who are photographers take them. I'm just about to move into my first apartment in Bondi, which is a pretty big step, I think. You know, I'm 26 and I thought I might have to still have flatmates for the next couple of years. And also with Bondi, it's pretty much my favorite place on the planet. Although your beach here is not that bad either. When I'm in a bad mood or I'm upset, I put music on and I dance it out. This is a new theory that my friend and I have just been testing, and I'm telling you it works. And I'm not going to show you because that would just be downright embarrassing. All right, so this is, as we go through, you'll just see these girls. These girls are my friends, so all the models you see in the show and the shoots, not one of them is actually a model. They're actually just girlfriends from back in Sydney. It helps that they're good looking, obviously. All right, so I'm giving you another list today, and it's called, I've named it the F words. And no, I'm not swearing, so don't worry. My number one, and which is what our company is based around, is having fun. My whole aim with the fashion label was to be able to make a living out of enjoying myself, which is not that easy to do, but I think everyone's capable of it. I never wanted to do a job that I woke up and didn't want to go to. It wasn't on the cards for me. So I'm going to ask you guys just to think about what you like, or you can find something you're good at, but I think it's better that you don't have to be that good at it. So think about what you like, write it down, write your top 5 down, and just explore it. And like I read the other day, there was a few girls that said, you know, I like to talk and hang out with people. And in the book it said, well, that was what Oprah Winfrey liked to do as well. And she kind of turned out pretty successful, so. Well, my talent and what I like doing mainly is pretty much dealing with people and bringing people together. So for all the photo shoots that we do, my skill is pretty much getting the right girls. Like I know who's going to get along, I know who's not going to get along, I know who's had a fight the week before. So I know how to deal with personalities, which is probably my best skill. And I'm pretty bad at a lot of other things as well, but luckily I'm good at that. The second one, obviously fashion. It's a great antidote for me to this serious stuff in life. And I'm not going to lie, listening to all these guys talk before about building schools in India and all these life-saving operations kind of makes you feel a little bit smaller. But with all the serious stuff in life, you do need an antidote, and that's what I think my company is going to do. So we had an idea, well, I had an idea that was different. So with our first product, it was a cape, and I used to wear it to my old job where I used to manage at a big hotel in Sydney. And every time I wore it, people would just be like, what the hell are you wearing? But it got so many comments that after, a few months, I just started thinking about it and started making some for my friends. Then it just started snowballing. The past year, I've had a lot of friends who have come up and just been like, you started a fashion label. That is so cool. It's cool, but to be honest, the first year, the past 12 months, I've pretty much been a glorified courier. I spend at least 70% of my week in my car, driving fabric to somewhere, driving the pattern somewhere else, then I'll forget the elastic, because everything we make is all made, it's all Australian made, it's all made in Sydney. So it's that old saying, how it's not as glamorous as it looks, couldn't be more true. And to be honest, it's not where I expected to end up, but I'm happy doing this, and I actually believe, without a doubt, that I can build an amazing brand, which is my big goal. A hard one, but one that I can do. Note to self, it is literally impossible to be in a foul mood when one is wearing sequins. This is from our new line, which comes out in about 2 weeks, maybe 3, because I think I'm running late. My third F is a big one, is Facebook. Can I get a show of hands who doesn't have Facebook? One person. Good girl, I'm proud. Oh no, wait, there's 2. Now everyone's slowly coming up. Just admit it. I'm proud of you guys, to be honest. It took me a while to join, but once I joined, I got addicted, I'm not going to lie. But and for starting a fashion label on your own, Facebook is an amazing tool for business. When you don't have the resources to pay for PR and all those sort of things that cost thousands of dollars. But on the flip side, I didn't grow up with Facebook, and the things I see people post are ridiculous, and especially some young people. So the one thing I ask you guys is do not post unflattering photos of other people ever. It's just not cool. If someone did it for you guys, you wouldn't enjoy it, and I would probably have a bit of a cry. And I always ask permission from friends before I put photos up, whether it be Facebook or even in any of our advertisements. Obviously they sign things, but always ask for permission, because it's pretty invasive if someone actually posted something up that you didn't like. And I actually have a friend who recently, she swears 95%, she's almost sure that she actually didn't get a job recently because she reckons the guy that interviewed her looked at her Facebook profile. Obviously they weren't friends yet, but looked at her profile and it was a picture of her, those little cars in shopping malls for the little 3-year-olds to ride in? She was in one of those with a bottle of champagne in her hand, sort of screaming, and that was her photo. So she knows someone that works at the company, and he said he's pretty sure that he looked at the Facebook and she didn't get the job because of that. So one thing I will tell you is probably maybe edit your Facebook page, because you never know who's looking at it. I mean, I know some of you are only in year 10 and you're a couple years out, but it's basically your CV now for your future. It's what people look at. So just think before you post. This is an example. This is my friend Millie. Obviously, I asked her permission to do this. This was actually part of our shoot. Photo on the left, I'm hoping that you guys would not post that of your friend. Photo on the right, obviously is fine. Epic fails. I have had a lot of them, and I'm going to have a lot more of them. So I think you guys should just learn to live with it. Every time I try something, it never works on the first time, ever. And I'm getting used to it now. And obviously the more attempts you take at something, the sooner you figure out how to do it better, or the sooner you figure it out to begin with. Sometimes it can even be fun. For example, this picture with that show last year, I don't know if you guys noticed, but my friend let me drop a pirate ship inside his rooftop pool of that venue. So with the pirate ship, I wanted everyone, when they got an invitation, to get a treasure map. And not only that, I wanted the treasure maps to be hand burnt around the edges, so when you unrolled it, it was all old school. So my brother and I started doing it by hand. at home, and we printed 1,000, and it costs money to print things like this. Printed about 1,000. We started doing 5 at a time with this massive blowtorch that we got. And then we started getting, a bit antsy. We kind of wanted to go mass production, so I picked up about 100, and we were like, yeah, let's do 100 at a time. Obviously, the heat got a little bit too hot, and the whole thing pretty much exploded in our hands. It was like a meteor in our hands. So then there was 100 invites down. So then we'd already done about 500, and we left them down the side, kind of just underneath a chair so they wouldn't blow away. Went inside the office, started smelling some smoke, and we were like, that's weird. Went back down the stairs, and obviously one of the embers from what we were burning before landed in my finished pile, and everything just pretty much blew up. So we pretty much had to start all over again, and it was all just for an invitation. And that was pretty much, that's ash on my face. So things like that for me happen every day, every single day. And another thing I want to talk to you guys about is just sticking to your guns. About 2 weeks ago, I know that Lady Gaga was in Sydney for that one-off concert. And when she came in town, Hilton, who for the parents here is a celebrity blogger, he gets about 30 million hits a month, and he's pretty powerful. If someone puts a song on his web, if he posts their song, they can end up being in the top 10 within like 2 months, which is a pretty powerful medium for now. Anyway, so I had a stylist call me, and she was like, Claire, we need blazers for Perez and Lady Gaga. And obviously, I do not make blazers. But I said, I have capes. And she was like, no, Claire, I said blazers, not capes. And all I just said back was just cape, 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 cape. Claire, shut up. We need blazers. Capes. She hung up on me. So the next morning, I went over uninvited, brought my capes with me, put them on the rack, and I said, listen, it's no harm done, because I knew Hilton, the LA character that he is, I knew he'd wear it. And he's going to a Gaga concert. He's not going to like a meeting. So I said, listen, put it on the rack and just see if he wears it. If he doesn't wear it, I'll come back and I'll get it. You guys aren't paying for your postage or anything like that. I'll just come out and pick it. A friend of mine who works for this stylist said that he walked in the room and it was the first thing that he went for, straight off the bat. So the next day, I got some media coverage for it, which is great, because in a few weeks he posts this on his site, and that's about 30 million people that I previously did not know. So notice that's a cape, not a blazer. I wish that stylist was here right now. But things like that, like just stick to your guns. Even if someone tells you no, there's usually a way that you can find around it. I mean, not always, but more often than not, just get creative, or just rock up to the door and just insist, like I do. The third F, or is it the fourth, is Fob Watch. But because I want to talk about time and it starts with a T, that's why this is titled Fob Watch. Most of us feel guilty about wasting someone else's time, but you don't really think about it when you waste your own. I waste a lot of time, I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty much the world's biggest procrastinator. I don't know if you guys saw, but I pretty much changed my whole presentation while I was sitting there before, because I'm changing things always at the last minute. But my concept of time is literally only probably now developing. I'm a bit of a late bloomer. In the past few years, I've kind of just been figuring things out, having fun, figuring out actually what I want to do, what do I want to achieve. But I've got other friends who literally, even from high school, they're just so organized and their steps are just planned out. And I get jealous of that a lot. But I know eventually I'm going to make it. I just take the long way pretty much everywhere. Here's an example. So we're looking at 2005. I didn't study fashion. I studied a Bachelor of Communication at Billy Blue, which is a school of graphic arts in Sydney. It's a great school. I travelled, I worked, and that was, in those 4 years, I kind of just potted around, just doing my thing, meeting people, working in hospitality. 2009, figured out that fashion was something I was good at, and my cape started taking off when I was managing at a hotel. And then if you look, so 2010, letting the capes to friends, word started to spread. Then I made 10 capes, and then I did my first photo shoot, which everyone just loved, because I always just wanted to do those group shoots with heaps of friends. Because our friends are so crazy and just so fun, it didn't make sense for me to use models. I tried models once from Chadwick's, and they were expensive, and they were so boring. They couldn't, I asked them to smile and look like they're having fun, and they just looked special. It wasn't right. So did that first shoot. So then obviously I made 20 capes and then 20 tights of different designs. Did another shoot, that went really well. Then we did our first catwalk show. We did this at Hugo's Lounge in Sydney. And even the organisers of the event were like, oh, you know, it's your first show. It's probably only going to be like maybe 200, 300 people. We had 1,000 people rock up for that night. And it was a huge success. And that night made me realise that I was onto something that's, you know, that's going to be big. The support from friends and family is pretty much, half those people were obviously my friends and family. But having support like that was just unbelievable. So obviously last December we did the full collection and our first full collection in catwalk, which is what you saw before. And then in London I went and did a charity show with that same collection. Had a few meetings with people over there, one girl who was responsible for taking Sass and Bide over to London, who I still talk to, which is great, but she's convinced me to redo doing my online store, because I did it once and it didn't work. Then I did it again and it didn't work. So this is my third attempt, so that was 2 epic fails. It's my third time around. I think from all the experience, it is going to work this time. But
I've got to tell you, we've got 2 minutes left.
Okay, 2 minutes. Damn. I wasn't even looking at a clock. So yeah, now he just completely put me off, so I have no idea what I'm talking about. So I'm talking to you guys now. Again, still my birthday. And then, so in 3 weeks' time, we launch the online store. So we'll see how that goes, but I think we're going to do gangbusters. Fitness is another one of my Fs. I think I'm almost done, so it's okay. So Richard Branson, I love this story, was asked what was his top tip for productivity. In the whole world, you asked this guy that question, and his #1 response was working out. I've only recently started working out and getting really fit, and the guy is right. I literally get so much more done just by going for a run every morning. I listen to music. Sometimes I go for a walk for 2 hours. Listen to music, and I just daydream my day away, and it works. So if you don't do that much exercise, literally do a dance class, do something, hang out with your mates, go for a surf, play some tennis. Just do it at least once or twice a week, and you're just so much happier. I literally can't stop smiling once I finish working out. It's ridiculous. And my life has a superb cast, but I can't figure out the plot. Speaking of that cast, obviously it's my family and friends that I was speaking of before. I do honestly think you are the sum of who you surround yourself with. My A-team that I have back in Sydney and around the world, they are the best people that I know. They're best in their fields, they're the best at what they do, they're just the most compassionate people, and they are literally why this company is going to be successful. They help me so much. I mean, this company is not just me, it is literally like 1,000 people. But they're always willing to help. And so if you ever do run into someone, you might even have it now, that doesn't bring anything to your friendship table, I just tend to drift off, which is what I reckon you should do. So this is what I'm leaving you with. Don't worry, everything is going to be amazing. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was in high school. I used to never even listen to these talks when I was in high school. I'd probably be on my phone, or I'd probably be out the back doing something. So I just think you guys need to not worry. Everything's going to work out, but just figure out what you like. Figure out what you actually like doing, and just work on it and experiment. Thank you.